All right, guys, welcome back to the Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Ronan, Mod Ash, Mod Reach, and myself, Mod Archie.
Not legit alive.
What?
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 Okay, so do you want to take us through what exactly happened today, Ronan?
Well, we released a little update, which
Yep.
means that Old School is now permanently free to play. So anyone on any RuneScape account can log in and play Old School for as long as they might like, whether they're a new player or an old one. So go and do that.
Yep. And so what else happened? The near miss poll?
Yeah, that ended today.
Yep.
And the big ones out of that are the Wilderness Ditch, and while the concealing of it didn't pass. Teleblock in free to play didn't pass, but the boss pets did.
Yep.
And there are a ton of other things in there that passed as well. Just go give it a read. It's still on the website in the poll module.
Yep.
Also, an extra
surprising.
button for the Grand Exchange interface, the main one that will show all 6 offers you've got. There'll be just one extra button for letting you collect all the items that have arrived so far with one click, either to your inventory or to your bank.
Alrighty then. Okay, so that being said, let's get into the questions. First one's from CJ, and he asks, will the Old School team be hosting any free-to-play events? Ronan?
Tons. In fact, the first one being yesterday, but immediately after this stream, we're going to be doing a free-to-play kickoff event where all of you can join in if you want to. So if you want to join in with that event, I'd recommend making a brand new account now, because we're going to start that at the very beginning of Tutorial Island. We're going to get off the island by going through it, or by using Skippy if you want to, and then do some low-level content. And then on Sunday, we've got a free-to-play low-level Magic War. So we're going to be, again, using brand new accounts,
Nice.
level 3 accounts, getting all a bunch of mind runes, and then going and PKing in low-level wilderness just north of Rock. And we've got a bunch more stuff coming over the next few weeks as well, so keep an eye out for all that.
Yeah, so there's a ton of free-to-play streaming content, as well as some videos. We'll have a few cool guides coming out in the next few days, particularly tomorrow is the first one? No, Saturday, I think, actually. But yeah, all right, next question. This one's from King of Goons, and he asks, if we have the ability to track how many coins / rare drops / bones despawn every day due to not being picked up? Interesting question. Is that trackable?
I'd like to be able to track that. Currently not.
I'd be curious to think how, it'd be cool to see a report. You missed 40,000 coins today because you were just too lazy to pick them up.
Each game world has some tracking for scripts that generate wealth and scripts that destroy wealth. Now, its idea of wealth is not player prices. It doesn't know the given value of an AGS on the open market, although it could in future, which would be even more fun. But it does know ALC values. So it keeps a track of how much wealth comes into the game by things like death scripts from NPCs where they drop their loot. And it's got an entry in there for sort of items being deleted off the ground by the despawner, which counts as well. So we do have some notion of what wealth is being taken out of the game by things despawning off the ground, but it doesn't tell you how much of it was coins, how much was AGSs, how much of it was bones. It just tells you that a whole bunch of stuff went. And given that the price of a coin and the price of a bone are about the same in its point of view, it's not a very useful statistic at the moment.
Fair enough. I imagine it really wouldn't be that nice of a feature if you were, say, trying to solo Armadillo and you had to teleport away because you ran out of food, but it died at that second, and you've been wondering, what did I get? And then it tells you got the hilt.
And then your mate PMs you to say, hey, I just picked up this lovely hilt thing that you left on the ground.
Yeah. All right. Next question. This one's from Harry Was 8, and he asks, can we have the ability to add tip jars to player-owned houses?
Ooh.
Pardon?
Tip jars.
Tip
Oh,
jars.
tip jars.
So if you're using someone's altar, you can tip them, basically.
Ah.
I know
like
that John is interested in doing a little something with construction. I'm not sure when he's planning on doing it, but he wants something to do with jars in there. So I'm working with that maybe.
Yes, although what he wants to do with jars is probably nothing to do with money going in it.
No, not at all.
It's an interesting idea. I mean, it would obviously incentivize house parties again to get them back up and running. 20K and we'll throw a house party. All right, next question. This one's from PackMRS, and he asks, can the free-to-play gem shops restock gems at a faster rate?
I thought they restocked it at a 0 rate, like never.
Do they do?
I wouldn't
I
know.
remember when I was in Classic, there was never anything there, but although I could dump a gem there if I wanted a pittance of coins.
Okay.
And then as a member, I could access a gem shop that sold gems for the first time, and I was quite excited, and then found it was really slow.
So it's not like every hour a new gem will come. It's just they only go there when someone sells them to them.
Pretty much. And then they despawn, I think.
Okay. So we're not interested in changing that at all?
If we want that to be a popular source of gems as opposed to the way people currently get gems, then we could make more gems available that way. Personally, I don't want to encourage people to get their gems from that kind of activity. I'd rather they got them from, you know, mining, combat, other activities that give you gems occasionally. We can do a lot more in that regard, but shops is not the most interesting bit of gameplay for me.
Okay, fair enough. And to people asking where Mod Matt K is, he's currently on holiday. He'll be back next week. So look forward to that. All right, next question. This one's from Mr. O. He asks, how long until we see more high scores? Particularly asking for free-to-play high scores.
Ooh. Well, today, Mod Shadow actually came over to us and said he'd like to work on our minigame high scores in his spare time. Every other Thursday, all developers and anybody in the RuneScape department has an opportunity to do their own little personal projects, and his personal project was to give us high scores. So send thanks to him.
We need to tag his Twitter.
Yes, it's actually at JagXShadow.
Thanks very much.
He's managed to revive the minigame high scores, so that's the Bounty Hunter, Rogues and Hunters, as well as the Clue Scrolls. With that, we could potentially ask him to expand the high scores to cover things like free-to-play at the same time. There's no reason why not.
I'd like that.
Yep. So I think that could be included in his high score work, but maybe sometime soon. Obviously, web team are very, very busy with their standard schedule, so obviously things like this come every other Thursday or when people find time, which isn't generally that available. So sometime soon, I guess.
Okay, so it's definitely a possibility. Next question. This one's from Bradley, and he asks, can general stores have unlimited stock? I think just at the moment, they're probably being a little flooded right now by free-to-play players, particularly the one in Lumbridge.
While the engine doesn't currently support infinite stock in a shop, we can just make it respawn so fast that it's as nearest to infinite as matters, which is quite easy.
Yep.
Like for tinderbox, you just set the default stock to be, 60,000 and have them respawn one per cycle. Ain't going to run out.
No.
Yeah. Not really too much of a negative that comes from that. Nobody can really farm that buying masked tinder boxes.
They're all
I
over the
very much doubt
place.
it was ever intended to be a limiting thing for people to be able to get tinder boxes.
Yeah.
We don't want to crash the hammer market, though. It's pretty risky.
Well, we've got a G coming out. If we're going to crash any hammer market, this is the time for it.
Okay, all right, so definitely doable. Next question, this one's from Brody. Would it be possible to see baby green dragons outside of the wilderness, similar to the blue ones? So I think he's concerned that maybe green dragon tasks are a little dangerous for him, being in the wilderness. He wants somewhere safe to go.
Oh.
And he's suggesting baby green dragons.
There was someone on the forum requesting this recently, and personally I don't see an issue with it as long as the baby green dragons weren't better experience and weren't better money.
Yep.
I think just a way to get rid of that task without costing them Slayer points or having to go and risk their stuff, I wouldn't see an issue with that.
We could even stick it as a kind of offshoot off Elvarg's room.
That'd be nice.
I was trying to think of somewhere slightly dangerous for them to go. I wasn't considering Elvarg.
I pictured like with the Calphites, because they have their tiered monsters before you eventually get to the Calphite Queen. But they don't really fit in a desert, do they?
No.
No, we kind of got away with it in the in Neve's secret dungeon thing,
Yeah.
by having the entomologist corpse with his diary saying that he'd lugged a lot of sand in there to keep them happy. Must have taken him a while, and then he's dead.
Alrighty then. Next question, again from Brody, asking, can you reintroduce the tool belt, but limit it to only the most basic tools? Being what, the hammer, spade, maybe, tinderbox?
I think the problem with the tool belt is even if we limit it to the most basic tools, that's still a very, very, very big job. There's still many places in the game where script is checking if you have a hammer or if you have a pickaxe or if you have an axe. I think you centralise the majority of mining.
I've done it for the pickaxe. The hatchet would be a much bigger
Yeah.
job because all trees work it out differently.
Yes. So even if we just limit it to the basic tools, we're still looking at quite a sizable job. And obviously the chat is screaming no at us right here, so I think
Well, that's all right then.
that generally answers that question for us, even if we then turn around and say it will be an easy job. But
Alright, and this is why we asked them on the Q&As. Fair enough, next question. This one's from Anthony. He says, congrats on 2 years. Thank you. And he asks, could we speed up how long it takes to get cats to chase vermin? It's a bit of a painful dialogue to go through.
Especially if you've got the amulet of cat speak on, it makes it longer.
Is there a way we could just right-click chase vermin maybe, or
yeah.
would that be something we're particularly interested in prioritizing over other quality of life updates?
Right. as valid as all the other right-click options we ever do.
Okay, fair enough.
I could see it being useful for things like the Evil Dave's quest bit, trying to get those bloody little
Yeah, that's
slice
what I was
things.
thinking.
Exactly.
That's the worst part
So
of Old School for me.
It sounds trivial, but it has merit.
Have you got that that achievement diary task where you have to go and get a 3-line medal from Gertrude?
There is definitely something Gertrude related.
Because if you've got that in there, then we're making everybody go and chase a lot of vermin.
There's definitely something Gertrude related there, although I can't remember what exactly it is.
All right. Well, we're seeing a lot of yeses in the chat. They don't like clicking through that dialogue.
No
Fair
one
enough.
likes clicking through dialogue.
Mind you, with the spacebar to skip chat dialogue, that might also.
Even so, it's
benefit that.
unnecessary dialogue for the most
We
part.
look forward to writing that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question. This one's from Tristan, and he asks, "Will we ever have the ability to catch Implings barehanded?"
I like it.
Maybe one day. I think we'll
Without
extend
a-
that to butterflies as well.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing about the
Possibility.
Implings is that they were always intended to be a sort of distraction, like you see one go by, you grab it, you get some stuff, and it's a little bonus for having been paying attention. Butterflies tend to be in one place and you kind of camp them, but the Implings, the fact that you needed a net to be able to catch them at all meant that they just didn't work as a random passing by bonus. Because unless you happen to be carrying a net around all the time just on the off chance, you couldn't do a thing with them.
Net and a jar.
And a jar. Now, when I was chopping magics in the Gnome Stronghold next to the southern bank there, where there's a farming patch, so I've got my tree plus its tree, then I usually would have those things because it was easy enough to get to a bank that I didn't care about inventory space. But everywhere else in the game, it sucks.
Yeah, especially from Mossless Harmless, where Dragon Imps seem to be slightly more common. You're not really likely going to have a net and a jar on you at the same time unless you're camping.
What exactly are you even doing on Was the Harmless?
I have no idea.
Alrighty then. Next question. So maybe a possibility in the future there, Tristan. All right, this one's from Yak City. And he asks, well, first of all, we released a new cow outfit today. Do you want to take us through what exactly that is?
Well, as the title suggests, it's a cow outfit.
That's it? There's no
the
meaning
history
to
of
it.
the
There's
cow.
no lore. It doesn't come from a cow god. It's
Right,
just
so
a cow
from what I
outfit.
can recall at the very least, someone might have to correct me if I'm wrong, there was a cow outfit in the archive. It was partly broken. The bit that wasn't broken was the head. We decided to launch the head last year because why not? We fixed the cow outfit for this year because we now can, so we decided to launch the rest of the cow outfit for this year. It's not really symbolic of our second birthday, and it's certainly not symbolic of anything important. Neither
Just
does
for
it have
fun.
any particular lore behind it. It's just a cow outfit that was given from a random event which never actually went live. So
Yeah, that random event would have had you taken to Bridgelum, a sort of copy of Lumbridge with the Duke of Bridgelum complaining that there's all these people being killed by cows. I want you to put them back together again. So you see this pile of cow parts on the ground, like with a head and a tail and some udders just on the ground. I want you to pick them out in the order I tell you so that I can reassemble my cow. And if you did it wrong, then it would spawn this god-awful creature with, like a cow with all the parts put together the wrong way. Like two bottoms, one at each end, walking back and forth, and or head in the middle. And the tester who was assigned this project took one look at it, just as we were about finished with the code for it, and said, "Oh my god, it looks like an abattoir!" And we agreed, yeah, it does look like an abattoir. So, especially with them spinning, like you've got these cow udders on your screen spinning, and the cow's disembodied head spinning with, you know, all the juice showing on the inside like a steak. Yeah, we decided not to launch that, so the cow outfit was never used around that time.
All right.
I saw the screenshots of that you put on Twitter. It was pretty gruesome for
It was pretty
RuneScape.
gruesome.
I miss that.
You can see
There was
the-
even a music track.
I'd say it has brightened up the release of free-to-play in my opinion, because you just go to Varrock and there's just nothing but like herds of cows running around. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. As you can see, the chat, they're appreciating some more story time with Ash. All right. Anyways, there was a real question there. So he was asking if he could have the ability to merge his cow outfit because he loves it so much with his full graceful, to keep the bonuses of graceful. And that's just a fun question.
As
He was-
graceful as a cow.
he wants to-
Graceful cow
He
outfit.
wants to do what, sorry?
He wants to keep the negative weight bonuses with the cow outfit.
Oh, okay, so he's effectively asking for overrides.
Yeah.
Should I wait for the chat to respond to that one, or should I just answer?
I think that was just a fun question. I just wanted to ask that.
Hey, but don't get me wrong, I mean, as a concept, it's not that bad, but I think at the moment the chat
Well-
then actually eventually gets to catch up with us. I
Maybe-
think I'll answer it
I mean,
for us.
Maybe next year for the birthday we could do an agile cow instead.
Agile.
The cow that jumped over the moon.
Alrighty then. We have real questions. This one's from Tristan again, asking, can you add a beam when you receive a rare drop?
There we go.
And by this, I believe he means if it's kind of difficult to see a rare drop that you got, he wants kind of like a beam of light.
RS3 should use loop beams.
Okay.
Obviously, loop beams being obviously exactly what you just described them to be. Every time you got a red drop, a little loop beam came down, a little rainbow or something. I'm not entirely sure if it's customizable. I don't know. I've seen it be a rainbow, and obviously you could see that it was a very clear indicator that you had a rare drop. So go get it.
Okay.
Obviously, would have to have some sort of spot element to do that for us, I guess, if we were to do it. Although
I'm seeing a lot of no, hell no, yes, hell yes. Well, that's useful.
I'm still not entirely sure. I'm seeing no to beam, actually. I wasn't entirely sure if that was just the leftovers from anything mentioned with
There's the
overrides.
occasional yes in there, actually.
Is it straw pollable, do you think?
I think that's something we could straw poll.
I reckon we could draw for
Sure.
it, although I reckon the no's are far more dominant than the yeses.
So just to reword that real quick. So he's asking if we could add a loop beam to rare drops to more easily locate
I
rare
think
drops.
given that we have an obligatory or an automatic,
Loop broadcast
loop
system?
broadcast system, that's I think what I'm looking for, sorry. I think that, because that runs all the time, you can't turn that off really. Then you don't really have a chance of missing a drop unless your chat is spammed and it just rolls off the page. But you know, it shouldn't be too hard to see where your drop is.
Okay, so we should have that straw poll up in a minute for you guys to vote in. I appreciate all the cooperation with that. Next question. This one's from Anthony, and he says, can we have a timer for clue scrolls to make them a bit more competitive?
I always like making things more competitive. I think if we can introduce just a competitive element into almost anything, it's worth it. For clue scrolls,
It's an interesting idea.
it is an interesting idea.
The clue scrolls that you divorced.
I mean, some are particularly
would the benefit
easier.
would there be a benefit to completing it faster? As in, were you more likely to get
Just-
something as a result of doing
Just
so?
bragging rights. I mean, if you kill Jad fast, then it takes longer. It's just you use more supplies, right?
If it's just a bragging rights, then I guess we could add maybe a high score for it.
Is
at
it
some point.
actually possible?
What, tracking the time from when the thing was dropped on the ground to when you get loot?
It's when you completed it, yep.
It won't necessarily know it was the same trail,
Okay.
Yeah.
which is where it might get a bit confused. In much the same way that when people ask us if we can have, one hard clue, one easy clue at the same time, the answer is no, because it would have no idea which one you're doing.
Okay, fair enough. That's kind of like people who get multiple clues and try to drop them and do more than one at a time. But we have the results back from asking if you wanted a loop beam to show your rare drops.
That's actually surprising. I am surprised by that.
I'm surprised that
that's-
number knows, to be honest.
I thought it would be the other way around. I thought no would be more dominant. That turns out to be 988 at the time of saying yes, and 697 saying no.
That being said, about 1,700 total votes, so thanks to you guys for your cooperation. We appreciate that. Let's head to the next question here. So just sorry to reiterate, it is possible to track maybe how fast you can complete a clue scroll, but is it something we're looking to maybe add?
I hadn't considered it.
I'd
Okay.
want to try it and make sure we could do it right before going as far as offering it to the community as a guaranteed poll. Because if we polled it and then found that we really got confused when the player tried to get another clue drop some other time or dropped their clue on the ground and mislaid it,
Yep.
we'd have a bit of a problem on our hands.
We'd have to cap out at some point as well, because if we're doing it from the moment it got dropped, that could sit in your bank for 10, 15 months. So
That's true.
I think what would be a problem is if you kill guards, they drop clues not that fairly often, and you can kill them fairly fast. So if you pick up your clue, drop it on the ground again, kill some more guards, pick up your clue, drop it on the ground again, kill some more guards, eventually you'll have two knocking about, and you can try and pick up one, take a step, pick up the other one, take a step.
Yeah.
You can take the system through a right model that way.
It could definitely be abusable even if you dropped it, then ran, and then telegrabbed it, and then dropped it again. If it counted for as long as it's in your inventory, the timer's going. That simply wouldn't work.
And not every clue has the exact same number of steps as well. So you can complete an elite clue in X amount of steps, or you can complete it slightly quicker.
Perhaps if there was a right-click start option first before you could even see what the clue was.
Again, if there was two of them knocking about, we'd have the same problem.
All right, fair enough. So not likely to happen. It's a really good idea.
I like
though.
the idea,
Yeah.
for sure. I like
Okay.
making anything competitive.
Cool. Next question. This one again from Anthony, and he asks, "Can we use Slayer points to increase the amount of monsters in a certain task?" We've answered this one before, but
We've actually already done that with certain Slayer monsters anyway, tasks.
They might be saying expand the task they've currently got, whatever it may be,
Yeah,
for a
that's-
one-off cost of 50 points or something.
That's the one.
My answer to that would be, if we were doing it, we'd have to make jolly well sure it was limited to one extension per task. Otherwise, well, if you got a task you really liked and you didn't mind burning all your Slayer points, you could be doing that till the cows come home.
That's true.
True. Okay, so it's doable.
Yep.
Next question. This one's from Mikey. Can the boss kill count / drops be added to the filtered game chat? I find it annoying having to switch back to see to the game chat. Sorry, to see my kill count / drops.
I think we polled that at some point, didn't we not?
We pulled something of the sort. I'm afraid I can't remember what, but it didn't pass.
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't see the community particularly liking that option,
I've
but it's
had a
always
few
good to answer that
requests.
stuff. Okay, this one's from Bradley, and he asks, why don't NPCs stores have fixed prices?
Because up to 2007, NPC stores did not have fixed prices. At the end of 2007, with the trade limit coming in, NPC stores were rewritten to have fixed prices. Don't remember people being very happy about it. And for the next 2 years, it was all, please put it back, Jagex.
All right,
But-
there's your answer. Sticking to heritage.
If everyone wanted us to change it, we could change it. It's just one of those things that people haven't asked us to change about the old school game, in the same way they don't ask for EOC very often.
Alrighty then. Next question. This one's from Luke, and he asks, what is Mod Ash always drinking?
This is Earl Grey tea, and this is a tea bag.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. That's that.
Okay. Every hour.
Next question. Again about
Every
Mod
hour.
Ash. This one's from Sez, and he asks, when are we getting that emote that Mod Ghost made? God Most.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That's a really good amount, actually. It's a
Well,
really
we did
good
talk
amount.
about digging it out again as a potential reward for this time's Well of Goodwill. In fact, if you guys wanted to promise that if we got to a certain threshold, we'd release that emote into the game as a reward for the community, or punishment, depending on how you see it.
I think it was a reward from the last one, and we didn't get anywhere near that one.
Yeah.
No, but they did get the
Yeah, that was
That's true.
a slightly weird reward.
We've
but-
still got the bowl haircut as well that
Yeah.
was modelled for us back then. That
Oh,
graphic's
joy.
still knocking about.
So we'll have the Well of Goodwill open with Game Blast tomorrow. And maybe if they hit a certain amount with that, we can add that Ash emote.
Pick a number.
Maybe we could
Pick
say
a number.
if we beat last year's overall for Game Blast, we could release it.
That was open for a month though.
Yeah,
last
we're only
time.
open for like 3 days this time.
Last year's Game Blast.
Oh,
Last year's
Game
Game
Blast.
Blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As in like total.
Oh,
not-
total value overall
not-
for Game Blast. That's
Yeah.
including the RS3 well as well.
Are you contributing the bot busting?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could beat it yourself then, if you want the emote. Pressure's on, Ronan.
That'd be interesting. Do you want the emote?
Let's not go there.
Do you want the
Ash
haircut?
emote. I absolutely want the Ash emote.
Okay.
Not the haircut. Haircut can go away.
All right, next question. From Fido, and he asks, will the birthday cake slices be kept after the event is finished?
No, they'll be removed as well.
So not like the snowballs, these ones will disappear?
I mean, we can let you keep them if you really want them. They don't really do anything useful. They heal, I think, 2 HP. They're not useful at all.
They are
Yes.
tradable?
People are using them as a moneymaker because they can sell them for 3 GP each at the general store. So if
Oh.
you level 3 as your first.
Are they tradable?
If you can sell it to a general store, yes.
Yeah, well there you
yeah,
go.
Yeah.
So if we discontinue them as of this event, they could potentially become who would buy a rare
No.
cake slice?
Well, who would buy pumpkins originally?
That's a good point. The
We-
next rare, we could do it.
I think as a rule we should not be introducing new tradable rares completely out of the blue like that. Perhaps if we just delete the thing at the end of the event the way we did last time. We've got other things in the game for the players to go and hoard and waste bank space on.
So that's a safe decision. All right, next one's from Jay Bizzle, and he asks, with bonds coming to Old School, can we get a membership bond package? Being that if you would save money if you bought, say, a year's worth. And I spoke to Mod Mac about this, and he said it's simply not possible due to bonds also being used to convert into gold. Meaning that if you bought a certain amount, you would save more. With the package, you would get more gold, and that just wouldn't be fair. They're just,
we wouldn't determine how much that would be.
yeah, just certain regulations that would come with it. So unfortunately, each bond will be the same price, even if you buy a dozen or just one. That's just the way it's going to be. All right. Next question, again from Jay Bislin. He asks, can you add another attack style to the Trident so that when switching weapons, it can stay on rapid / the strength style?
The answer to that is sure. Adding a third button is easy. the question is what you'd like the third button to do. I think what people would mostly like the third button to do is exactly what the first one does, so that there's just two buttons that have the exact same meaning, and you don't end up getting bumped to a different style when you switch from a weapon that's got 2 to a weapon that's got 3. Or we could make the third button do something slightly different, like give you reduced accuracy but a slightly higher damage max, if you wanted that. But it would probably be less controversial if we just made it be another button that does the same thing as the first one.
Fair enough. All right. Next question. This one's from Joan D. And he asks, can we add monsters to free-to-play that drop rune scimitars? Otherwise, Iron Men have no means to get them aside from smithing. The same question actually went for rune axes, because nothing sells them aside from, 85 smithing.
Do moss giants don't drop them, do they?
No. It was the cockroaches that drop the rune scimitars,
Ah, yes, that's what I was thinking of.
which we currently don't have.
No, we don't.
We can have something down a cave that drops them in the free area. Doesn't have to be in the barbarian village either, or it could be. Or we could just stick it on the drop table of like a Minotaur or something, or an Anku down the stronghold of security.
That would make sense.
Yes, they are quite popular training spots as well.
Depends whether we wanted to make a new training area and maybe a new monster to go in it. What we don't really want to do is try and recreate the cockroach graphics from scratch, because that's a much bigger project for no extra benefit.
All right. Seeing a lot of yeses, so if that is doable, I would imagine it would probably pass. Not too many people don't benefit from that.
Maybe just stick it on an Anku or something. We like Ankus.
Would be pretty sad to be like a level 100 free-to-play Iron Man, and your best weapon is the Addy Simi. So definitely doable. All right, next question. This one's from Wales, and he asks, with Vedion soon to have a pet, can it get a graphical rework?
I can't remember where I stole the graphic from. I think it was something to do with the champion. I think I've answered this before, but I've actually forgotten for the purpose of now. Yes, it entirely depends on how busy we've got Gareth for the time being. I know he's helping port models for you for Grand Exchange. He's still working on stuff for the achievement diaries at the moment. He's got a few animations to do and tweak a few models. He'll then be asked to do something preferably for Bonds, actually, making Bond graphics as well as the website, because obviously he does all our concept art as well, so it's not just the models that go in game, it's all the artwork and all the pretty pictures that Ronan puts all over social. So he's very, very busy, so I'm guessing probably not. It's probably not really high up on our priorities at the moment.
I think the answer sounds like if we were to redesign Vetian as part of giving him a pet, you might be waiting a very long time for all those boss pets.
Okay. Fair enough.
Unfortunately, no.
Next question, this one's from Zesma69, and he asks, can range/mage hits follow players once they run out of the wilderness? So this was obviously a big question, and the reason why we pulled the wilderness ditch being removed, which didn't pass, sitting at what, like 68% or something like that?
Thereabouts. Well, I think it was down quite a bit lower than that. Or
Was it
maybe
really?
I'm going to mix it with the teleblock, but
70. The
It was-
teleblock was a bit lower.
yeah.
Basically just saying there's a lot of hit and run PKing, and that's true, I've seen it. People will step in the wilderness, see a bunch of wind strikes, run away, and they don't hit them because of that rule. There's an invisible force field there.
For what it's worth, it's not just that that's stopping it. The wilderness has an area property painted all over it. If damage is queued on you inside the area property, and you're not inside the area property when the damage queue tries to hit you, it just aborts itself quietly. Now, the reason for this is so that all the teleport spells in the game and all the teleport features and all the other things that move you around, like random events or whatever, don't drag you somewhere else and then let you drop dead. Because that's no use to the PKer, and it's certainly no use to you. So that's why it was put there. Now, although it's mostly for teleports, it also happens to work for leaving the wilderness by just walking. And it's going to be pretty difficult to make it not be. I'm not confident we could do that without also making damage follow you through teleports.
All right, there's your answer. Next question. You know, we're seeing a lot of double XPs in the chat.
I was going to actually address these because I think there's a lot of EOC hype going on in the chat. Double XP, go away. And
hang on, there was a fair question. Well, not fair, but there was a question asking if we could have double XP.
I think I stand by the go away bit because I think they're going to shout it for me as well, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never even come close to being 75%.
No,
like that.
and the EOC hype, bring EOC to old school, equally go away.
Please.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. We did actually ask the one time, I think, in the chat, just asking if people wanted double XP, and they instead said, no, we'd like half XP
They're
weekends.
like a half XP weekend.
We could do that.
There you go, to whoever was asking that question. All right, next question. We've got a fun one here. And he asks, if you could add one boss from any other game or fictional story, whatever it may be, into Old School, what would that boss be and why? Ronan?
I don't know. I told you one earlier.
Yeah? It was a good one. I liked it.
Master Hand.
Yeah?
I think that'd be good.
And what's that
And
from?
what does a master hand do?
I don't actually. It like goes like that.
It was, so basically,
It's the hand
sounds
from
really
Super, it's Super
yeah.
Smash Bros, isn't
Super
it?
Smash
the
Bros.
giant
like,
white
shoots
glove.
lasers and
Yeah.
like smashes down. And
yeah, and then he comes up to
throws
like
you.
flick you.
yeah.
Oh, that was an awesome.
No idea how the hell you'd manage that.
Ash?
I'd like one of the Colossuses or Colossi from Shadow of the Colossus. That's a PS2 game where you had to fight monsters that were so much bigger than you that you have to climb up their legs and jump onto their arms and hang on by pressing the right button as it tried to shake you off. Try to shake you off itself and try to get to the vulnerable points where you could get your dagger in and actually do damage to it, because otherwise it'd get trodden on. I'd love one of those.
Awesome. Is that something that's maybe possibly doable or just never?
Well, the thing is, where the game considers you standing is always the ground.
Right.
So for you to be able to be standing on something that isn't the ground and is in fact walking itself across the ground is quite a radical shift from what the game's used to. Plus, the camera doesn't look upwards at the best of times, so what happens if you're upside down, hanging on for dear life, is another matter entirely. So
then.
no, I don't think we're going to be able to go there.
It's a cool idea, though.
What
Dan?
we'd end up doing is having, a
Really
fake bit of
struggling.
terrain that looks like the NPC's head. You stand on it and the camera shakes as if the NPC's going back and forth.
Okay.
I'm really struggling for an idea.
What's your favorite boss from any game aside from RuneScape?
It wouldn't be a RuneScape boss, actually.
Destiny?
No.
Halo?
No. Oh, it's quite a difficult one, because I rate bosses slightly differently, and the way you engage with them depends on the environment of the game, the way you're obviously doing it. I really can't think of anything.
Anything fictional, like a Pokemon or anything that you can
Like a
see.
Pokemon, yeah. Or the Elite Four.
Maybe that's the next step for us, because just throw Pokemon in there.
I'd
To be
vote
fair,
for it.
it's all well, and I think obviously every boss encounter, none of them are particularly unique. They all steal ideas from boss areas, encounters all over the place, and they
Right.
build their own little unique fight using those encounters all in one go. So I think obviously the next step would actually be to try and find the next gap, really, especially for a sort of point and click type game like RuneScape.
I would say
Obviously, our combat's very two-way. It's obviously hit, defend, and you're relying largely on RNG to actually hit very high. There's no, I take this lightly. There's no real skill involved in this, although people like Wooks can definitely manipulate that to work more in his favour than other people. Obviously, RNG is very simple. You roll a number, you might hit very high. The boss rolls a number, it might hit very high. There's no real skill in that. I think the next step would be to try and find a way of taking that element out of it and actually incorporate some skillful element into it. Remove the RNG sort of style. That's the sort of very behind the scenes boss type fight. Is what
Right.
I'd like to try and do.
but no names. You're letting us down. I would have to go from something from Dragon Ball Z, just to be typical, to live up to what I say every week when we ask these questions, and that would probably be Boo, just because I think that would be cool to fight in
It's a little
RuneScape.
alien.
Yeah, he's a little pink alien blob that then turns into this badass guy that just owns. All right, next question. That's a fun question. This one's from Ranger1990, and he asks, with Zeta coming, is it at all a possibility we'll see the new prayers past level 70?
Yeah, entirely possible. I think we have spoken in the past about potentially making a PDC for a new spell book and a prayer book. Maybe at the same time, maybe separately, I don't know. Depends on where they come from, depends on where I decide they come from. I haven't really thought about it too much because I think we talked about it being a PDC, so it's not really for me to think about, it's for you to think about. So yeah, it's entirely possible. I think people have suggested prayers, and not prayers, sorry, curses. I know the community feel a bit slightly indifferent about things like curses, but again, if you want curses, you get curses. If you don't want curses, you don't get them. If you want something new, you get that as well. It entirely depends on what you want.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of no's come up there, but again, that's
I'm seeing a
probably-
lot of yeses, actually.
I think that's because I
surprisingly.
mentioned curses, and I know how people feel about curses, like I said, so it entirely depends on what it is you want, or if you want
Yeah.
something brand new that you've never actually seen in RuneScape before, which is what we do quite a lot of.
Right.
So, it
think-
depends.
likely, at the time being, we have a lot of very big updates, even soon to come with resizable achievement diaries, etc. But maybe once we have one of those periods when we finally don't have a massive update scheduled, they might be looking for something like that. But for the time being, we're pretty booked.
The good thing is that cursors, prayer books, spell books, they don't generally take a huge amount of time to write compared to some of the stuff we've been doing lately. Like a curse that just buffs your stats in combat, not too hard to do. Or even the combat side effect, that's not hard to do either, because frankly we do it for special monsters with their effects anyway. So we can take on this kind of project quite happily if we're confident that that's something you're okay with.
Okay. It's doable, but maybe sometime in the distant future. All right, next question. This one's from Zero's Plays. Will free-to-play players ever have the ability to try member skills and level them up to, say, level 10 or so before becoming a member? So I believe RS3 has or main game, whatever you want to call it, has a feature similar to this.
Yeah, they do. I think it caps out at level 5.
So you could, for example, try fletching to, say, level 10. If you said, I like this when you become a member. You could do that.
I'd have to check. I think we would end up checking whether or not that was a successful initiative for RS3 in the first place. I'm personally, myself, right now, don't think it's probably worth the time. I'm seeing a lot of no's come through the chat, actually.
Don't even let them try it.
Looking
They
at
don't
what
get
you
to try
can
it.
do at level 1 through 10 fletching,
Yeah.
It's very
it's
interesting.
not that much more fun than what you can do as a free-to-play person. In fact, it might be counterproductive.
Yeah.
So, given that we don't have things like, say, summoning, where it tries to start you off with an exciting quest to get you in the mood,
Yep.
or dungeoneering, which is a game in itself to get you in the mood. By the time you've got level 5 in that, you might reasonably be incited by it. But fletching ain't going to cut it for most people.
No.
I feel like having free-to-play being sort of a viable as standalone content, like it's not reliant on members at all. You can get 1 to 99 everything. You can complete everything in free-to-play without necessarily feeling like you're missing out. It's all sort of rounded off. If you go and introduce just a tiny part of a lot of content, then people might feel like they're getting cut off at a key point and not be so inclined to do it.
Yeah.
When they reach that point that they can't proceed, then they could either subscribe or just quit, or just sit there feeling frustrated for the rest of their RuneScape careers.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Next question. This one's from IP in Cans, and he asks, can free-to-play get bounty hunter worlds?
I had a lot of requests for this, actually. Do you want free-to-play to get Bounty Hunter Worlds?
Got a few requests, but nothing overwhelming.
Could
We
we
just have to look
stop
at what
all
the
that?
rewards are.
Yeah. Obviously, the reward store is almost entirely members.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that upgrade members' weapons
Yeah.
and that teleport you to members' areas.
You could possibly look at adding things like Gravite. Am I saying that right?
Unless we just gave them access entirely to the first statuette as the membership hook you keep talking about, and don't let them upgrade it, because obviously that would have to be a members feature, then perhaps that might be a little kick for them, because you can sell that statuette.
Okay.
And people do buy it. So if that's what the membership hook you want, we can look into that, that's for sure.
I was thinking more like the Fist of Gothics reward. What was that shield? That main
Spiky
free-to-play shield, the spiky shield.
Brutal, was it? Was it brutal?
No, it was the spiky shield. I never had one, but they always looked really cool.
Yeah, I don't remember what
I
it's
can't
called.
remember
It's
what it's called.
like-
Ones from
Fist of Gothics,
Yeah.
the shields. They were the best. I think they were the only strength bonus shield in free-to-play.
Berserker shields or something.
I didn't actually play it, so I don't know.
Someone's going to say it in the chat, which is just
I don't
terrible because
remember at all.
I didn't play Fist of Gothics for or buy them
neither
ever.
did I.
I played Fist of Gothics, it was
Um,
fun occasionally, but not actually for any rewards.
Well, there are different options for the bounty hunter reward there. But
Actually, I want to cut away from this episode slightly, so I've just seen him in the chat. I am Kiefer's. We did obviously I mentioned earlier that we had the high score page slightly made public to us for things like clue scrolls. Grats on rank 2 in clue scroll high scores.
oh,
Yeah.
who's rank 1? Can we
I wanted to actually speak to rank 1, but rank 1 wasn't online at the time. Neither were you. I've actually seen you now, so I'm going to call you out and shout you out on it. So you're rank 2 in the clue scroll high scores at the moment. Rank 1 is...
Now he's just be wondering how
rank
far
1
from
is nearly
rank
double ahead of you.
Oh. Okay, it's not even worth trying. Just hold down the number 2
I haven't
spot.
checked whether rank 1 is actually doing complete or easy clue scrolls or whatnot, so I don't know.
I think he did a lot of easies.
And that's a unanimous yes for free-to-play worlds.
Okay.
I kind of just want to see what Keepers is saying, but that's in the way at the moment. If he did say anything, I don't see it at all. But
So that was a big percentage, 90%, something like that, wanted Bounty Hunter Worlds in free-to-play. So definitely a possibility in the future.
Excellent.
All right, next question. This one's from...
yeah, he said it. Gingbino is rank 1, yeah.
Okay. Next question. This one's from Blue, and he asks, why do pest control boats run some weird priority system rather than simply starting off the game with the first 25 people on the boat?
That priority system has always frustrated me. Always frustrated me.
How does it exactly work?
Initially, when that game was written, which I just about remember, it would try to pick all the people in the boat and fire them off into an instance. Trouble is, the algorithm that was picking people was not randomised, so it would pick people, and if you were at the north end of the boat, you got a decent chance. If you were at the south end, you couldn't.
Okay.
Which isn't much use. Now, it was a long time after that the engine team started writing, extra commands for shuffling the players it's found in the list, and the developer didn't attempt to do it directly. So what he did instead was say, okay, well, if you were in the boat but you weren't in the 25 that we picked, we'll give you priority next time, and take it up to level 4 priority or something, so that if you kept being left, then you got a really good chance of getting in future. But all it really needed was to randomise the people in that boat and pick 25 random ones rather than 25 from the north.
Okay.
Well, that's the history of that. I don't say it's a good history, but that's how it came to be.
So are we now expecting everybody doing pest control to run to the north end of the boat and just stand there?
That's what I do.
There's your answer. That should have been a Mythbusters. Damn.
So
All
the
right.
difficulty with all these secret bits of knowledge is that we
That is
never
really
know
cool.
when to trot them out.
There you go.
Of course, I could just rewrite those boats to randomise.
I like that question. All right, next question. This one's from Barbecue Slayer. Can you pull an update where if you die in a boss room, your items will spawn outside of the entrance?
No, I think that's too easy.
I think
If you die in the boss room,
with the newly added death changes to what, half an hour now? It's been increased to? I mean, do you really need them to spawn outside?
no, you should have plenty of time. No way it takes half an hour to get back to.
Yeah.
Not even things like God Wars. Plus, also, it makes it too easy anyway. I think if you die in the boss room, you've died in the boss room.
Okay.
That's the price you pay for going to that boss.
Given the feedback we got when Zora doesn't make you lose all your items, I don't think making all the other bosses in the game easy reclaim is the way to go.
Okay. Fair enough.
Now, we know why we did it with Zora, because we didn't have a lot of choice the way instances work, so that we didn't get the QBD bug back again where all the items appeared outside and deleted each other. We had very little choice other than to stick them in an inventory where you were going to get them back. But I don't want to make every boss go that way.
No, if you're going to make it that easy, I'd then make the drop spawn outside the boss room to add the challenge back to it.
All right, next question. This one's from Dan, and he asks, this is an interesting idea. Can we get an underwater area with Zaya? I believe we've already mentioned something like this, but he's requesting particularly underwater fishing
Yes.
and thieving.
Yep.
Thieving from old wrecked
Yep.
ships.
I've already
which
had
is
that
just an
idea.
awesome idea.
That both of those things you've just said, I have actually planned already.
Nice.
Cool.
Underwater shipwreck thieving, spearfishing as well underwater. Already had that.
Also,
Really
giant
cool.
clams.
Giant? No, I hadn't thought giant clams.
You put your hand in and it snaps shut unless you've got good thieving or something.
Oh,
This
that's
is
a
true.
good idea.
Pearls.
It's a bit like a chest to thieve off, only it's alive.
Yeah, no. Already had that idea. Fantastic.
Awesome. Cool.
We do have underwater areas currently in our archive, primarily from the Zamorak God Wars area that was scrapped, which is actually still there live in the game at the moment. I have shown a few people around it in the past, but obviously you can't actually see it. It's right next to the Ziliana encampment, so if you walked as far into the Ziliana room as you can and rotate your camera facing sort of northwest and look south, you can see part of the underwater area. It's there. If we want to do sort of tweet images out, I can do so, but I've actually used some of the assets in the Kraken room, so those little blue pillars and that floating man and a shipwreck, that is from the underwater area. I will probably be using that area to make it at least useful once in its life.
Okay.
I'd be glad to see that.
Yeah.
Next question. This one's from Sicko, and he asks, how's the Grain Exchange progressing? Is it likely to still be finished by the end of the month?
I'd say we're looking good.
Yep.
Been going through the config definitions of all the items in the game. There's a lot of items in the game. almost half of which
Treatment.
seems to be from crossbows.
What's been your favorite item that you didn't think was tradable so far?
The POH temp limestone brick. It's like a limestone brick, but it's a temporary one for player-owned houses.
Or the sliced banana and the Shaka Khan bones.
Oh, the Shaka Khan bones.
No one has ever bought a pair of those ever. I don't
Never even
believe.
heard of them.
Exactly.
Well, you kill the Shaka Khan, it's got special bones and you can trade them.
Okay.
Now, I'm getting a lot of the price info from websites like Zybez, also our own trading post. Of course, these have the limitations that if people don't trade the item very often, like the Shaka Khan bones, we've got no notion of what people might actually want to trade it for. And sometimes people have put an item in at a really high price just because, well, it's hard to get and they've done a lot of work lugging it to the trading post or lugging it to the Rock World one. So a lot of prices are inflated by the convenience factor, which won't exist in the same way when the Grand Exchange comes out. So we're adjusting prices a bit as we go, trying to get them to, slightly down from where they are if the reason that people are charging so much is that they've brought it to the Grand Exchange. I'll give an example. Gnome costumes, like they're sold for very small prices up the Grand Tree, and people have been trading them for thousands. There's no earthly reason for that other than that somebody's fetched them. And with the Grand Exchange, it's going to be very easy to fetch them because there's a bank in the Grand Tree, so you can get them into banknote form and stick them on the Grand Exchange. You're not going to get thousands for that every time. So it's not just a matter of just looking through Zybez and typing down all the numbers. But anyway, that's what I've been doing. Going alphabetically, I've got through all the areas, all the mini games, all the skills down to construction. Got some distance to go yet, but at least I've got past the blinking crossbow bolts because there's hundreds of them.
Oh, I do not envy
all
you for
the
that
tips, all the
No.
untipped things, all the limbs, all the stocks,
one. Do not envy you
all
at
the
all for that one.
unstrung versions. And the treasure trail folder, that was fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I think if
I think
you
mine
haven't-
and John's expansion probably made that 10 times worse.
Yeah. So anyway, the good thing is with all these prices, what you can do is ignore them. Because although we're putting it in as a guide price, you can completely ignore it. You can offer anything you like. You want to try selling your Armadillo God Sword for 1 coin, you go do that, and I'm sure someone will be very happy. People have asked, why don't you just leave it blank? Don't put a guide price in until players have traded the items and then show what they're trading it at. The thing is, the way the system works, it doesn't have any idea that this is a newly added item. All it knows is that here's a price. We'll adjust according to what people are doing. It doesn't understand that this is, just a placeholder number. So since it's going to show something, it may as well show something that's at least to within a order of magnitude the kind of number you're aiming for. So you should expect a few weeks of item prices being all over the shop, like it was in 2007, but at least you've got the opportunity to just ignore it and trade whatever price you want to.
So to summarize, are you basically going through every single item in the game
Yes.
and plugging it manually into the Grand Exchange?
Yes.
Yep.
So I believe everybody owes Mod Ash a giant thank you for that, because Jesus.
Well, what they'll probably say is, no, this item price should be a bit higher, should be a bit lower. To which the answer is, just go trade it. That's how you can fix it.
Yeah. All right. This next question's for Ronan, just because. And it's from Mayo Tindu, and he's asking, can you consider adding PvP worlds with some of the same mechanics from back in 2009? And he's referring to being +1 item protects, untradables lost on death, not being able to be reclaimed, and 75k plus risk to see loot. I don't particularly recall what the PvP mechanics were like in 2009.
Was that just the one where you could always save an item?
Yeah, and you couldn't bring a fire cape or a torso because you'd lose it no matter what. I think
the bit I'm getting antsy about is where he says that if you bring enough stuff, then you get loot. Because what that led to is people carrying overpriced junk around for no reason.
Well, it would kind of help with looters. I kind of like that rule. I'm not so big on the other ones, but I kind of like the rule where you have to bring 75k plus risk to see loot, because that would obviously take care of the looters, which are just
The only
annoying.
people that really impacts is Pures, but I'm not sure if they would complain too much about having to risk a little more.
Yeah, if you're not risking 75k, I mean, you're not really PKing.
I'm seeing the chat shout, "Lol, no."
Yeah.
I think
Damn.
kind of undermines, overrides anything we say.
Put up pass says somebody barrage Ronan.
Was that really necessary?
We got a lot
Yes.
more over here if you want it, actually. I mean,
Alright.
if you put this in front of Chris, he goes invisible. So
That's
we
okay.
can
Thanks.
barrage Ronan with that.
Okay. Why do we even have? What?
I don't know.
All right.
You didn't tell me we were ready for the
muted.
stream, so I didn't put it away.
All right. We have some time for a few more questions here. So this one's from Wild Ekins, and he asks, "Can we get King Black Dragon teleport scrolls from clues that bring you straight to the KBD risk-free?"
Oh, I don't like risk-free. I'm not a fan of that.
Mm.
I think if we were going to add more clue scroll rewards, that probably wouldn't be one of them. I think people have asked for more masks. People have also asked for trimming other armor kits and things like that, or dyes or whatnot.
With the KBD, you get there once. You have to run through the wilderness once, after which you can get a fair amount of kills. It's a minimal amount of risk for.
You can get canoe pretty close by anyway.
Yeah.
And there are teleports that take you to 50-something wilderness on the Ancients Mailbook that can
There's the
you run down a
obelisk,
little bit.
like 2 steps.
The
It's not
obelisk.
far from the obelisk.
I wouldn't want to be putting further teleports in there as well, because that's just, I mean, it's the wilderness. You kind of have to, if you're going to go into the wilderness for something that's going to profit you, there has to be some risk.
I'm seeing DK teleports. That's a more interesting idea, in my opinion.
I can see why people would want DK teleports. I wouldn't hate to have it take you straight to the ladder. I think having 2 people get you at least getting into the DK caves. I could see that. I think we probably won't ever change personally. I think a lot of people appreciate that. I think it's frustrating. Definitely have to look for a DK partner. Don't get me wrong. I think I've seen a lot of people say I've been looking for a DK partner for days now. I know it's a problem, but I think that's just part of the DK experience.
Is there not going to be some shortcut from Waterbirth Island down?
It's been requested a lot. I don't recall whether we've ever said yes.
Yeah, I thought John may have mentioned it as an achievement diary reward at some point. I don't know if it actually
Well-
ended up in there.
You'll know if you've programmed one of those.
I haven't programmed anything as such.
Nor have I.
No.
All right.
John might have.
All right. So next question. This one's from Levy, and he's asking, "What exactly are the restrictions that free-to-play players have with the Grand Exchange?" Can we just kind of take them through all of the restrictions that free-to-play players now have, because they've slightly been changed?
For the moment, the only restriction that I've programmed is that they only have access to 2 slots rather than the 6 that everyone else gets. We are considering other limitations that we may or may not have depending on how we fare against the gold farmers when free-to-play settles. In particular, what we could do is, cap the maximum value of any offer to, some threshold under 100,000 or something. But I don't really want to have to do a lot of that stuff because they should be able to buy treasure trail reward items that are free to play. There's quite a few things like that, like trimmed rune. And if free to play can't put offers above a certain threshold, that's kind of lame. So for the moment, we don't have any firm plans about what will be restricted, other than that, they've got 2 slots. Also, in the first 24 hours of their in-game time, when they can't offer items in a trade, that would also stop them from using the Grand Exchange.
Okay.
Actually, we're going to point out that you did a little thing.
It turned into Sandstorm, apparently.
I know Matt K isn't here, but he's here in spirit because Ronan is wearing sort of burgundy jeans like Matt would do, and you're making the same noise. So Matt K is here in spirit, I guess.
Hey Matt, we miss you. We hope you're having a lovely holiday.
Ronan's had to sit in your chair, wear your jeans, and that's about it.
Yo.
Can we get the data on Ronan?
Yeah, can we get the data on that? Nice one.
All right. But as far as that, you can now PK in free play worlds in the first 24 hours. So that was something that was changed
Before
as we
launch.
speak. Yeah, but there is still the 24-hour trade limit. So just to clarify, there you go. All right. Next question. This one's from YOLO Patrol, and he's asking, "Can we get milestone capes that recognize in-game time, starting at maybe 100 days in-game time?" He wants to call this the no-lifer cape. Which there's eventually a period where you hit maybe 1,000 days in game time. You have this epic, maybe it's like, I don't know.
Can we deduct AFK time from that?
Yeah, that would be a big sort of pointer in it, wouldn't it?
That's just more a fun idea.
I thought Milestone Games they were going to start requesting all scores being 60, all scores being 70, 80, not in-game time.
They are generally just asking for a further tiered cape, because we do have quite a few max players in game now, but we don't have really anything better than the fire cape still.
I would like to be able to mark achievements of that nature.
Okay.
I think that John has intentions of getting the Max Cape out in
Yeah,
the
I
not
think
too distant future.
We said a while ago that the Max Cape wasn't really important now because we had maybe at that point maybe 4 Max players. I think we've now got 2 pages. Is it
Yeah,
2.5 pages or 2 pages?
Last time I checked, it was nearing 40, maybe over 40.
I think it's like 50 something.
So I think we have a significant number of max players now, and a very significant portion of players very close to maxing. I also think with the introduction of free to play and old vets maybe coming back thinking they want to try and challenge that as well, or even people on RS3 who want to try and max out on old school. I think if we had some sort of goal for them to reach, if that's a max cape or not, I don't know. But I think it's important that we probably start investigating things like the max cape.
Okay.
If we had them, it would probably have to have a fantastic emote though, and I think at the same time, I remember Chriselle saying that the Max Cape emote was incredibly difficult to try and animate because
it's epic.
it includes every single damn skill in the game at the time, which was a right challenge for the animators. I think we'll have to try and do the same thing because you can't really have a cape to symbolise your achievement of maxing everything and then have a really terrible emote to go with it.
Well, that'll be interesting given all the fun we had with that dancing cow.
Yes, which took up God knows how much space, and we went through like 4 or 5 revisions to actually get it to work.
All right. Next question. This one's from Sharkones, and he asks, can we get a right-click equip or wield option from items inside the bank?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I did it before, I can do it again, because I can remember how I did it.
So maybe making its way to a poll in the near future with the next batch of quality of life updates.
Totally up for it.
There you go. Chat's thoughts on that?
There's a few other things that you can click while the bank's open, like, you know, rune pouches, coal pouches, which we've already done. The thing is, the trick I use for those is one I developed in the first place, being able to equip the items in the other game, and then it got expanded to all the things you can fill. So we're totally up for doing it to more things in old school. Also rune essence pouches, I don't think we've gone there yet, so we should.
Okay.
That's an awful lot of yeses.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
is.
2
So-
no's there.
Basically, when you're in your bank, instead of just right-clicking, withdraw Ring of Dueling, you would have the option to equip and maybe rub for teleport. Do rub
If
dueling or
you
is it just
can
teleport?
start operating stuff that you know, teleports you or something, then we've
Yeah.
got to make sure the bank shuts whenever you click something. Otherwise, you might teleport and take the bank with you.
Okay.
So I'd rather not go beyond, you know, self-contained things which modify your inventory,
Okay.
because that's what the bank's for.
So just be equip and wield. But,
What I also did was combine the bank with the equipment stats interface so that you could toggle between the two of them and you know, be equipping stuff and then switch to see the stats of the equipment you've got equipped now and then switch back again. If people would like that, then we can have a go at doing it,
Okay.
I think.
All right. This next question's from Matt, and he asks, excuse me, can we get a scoreboard posted just outside the boss rooms showcasing who has the fastest kill times? So you walk up to the door, there's a little billboard there, click on it.
So the challenge there is that the game doesn't actually know the value of the fastest time for every player. It knows the fastest time for whoever's clicking on it and for all the other players who are logged into the world at the time.
Okay.
But it doesn't know about the other 200,000 people who might have logged in or might not have done so. Which means that at the moment the game worlds can't have that kind of information to tell you who the best was. It would be nice, but for the moment we have no way of showing that info in game. Game worlds only know about people who are on them and very limited information about other things.
Okay. Next question, and I believe this may or may not be our last one. Probably going to be our last one. This one's from Daza, and he asks, would you ever considering adding a Barrows boss room where you can take on all 6 bosses at a time?
Sounds like Rise of the Six almost, doesn't it?
Well, just a little bit.
So, Rise of the Six apparently was very, I say apparently, I know was very successful, and I know a lot of people still like it, and it's still very profitable. I wouldn't try and encroach on that, but I think having some sort of wave-based Barrows thing, where you could take them on all at one time, is probably a good idea. I think we had the PVM Cup, whilst they're not... I think in the PVM Cup we probably introduce them, so it's possible to fight all of them at once. I'm seeing an equal amount of yeses and nos of abort missions, yes, no, multiple no, ZMI, abandon ship, no, yes.
Okay.
It's quite mixed feedback there actually, so I guess we can do.
I still want to do the Barrows sister one day, just to expand the family.
There were also a couple of requests for Barrows pets, but
Again,
that's
RSV did
I mean-
those very, very, very well. I think if we were to do them, we have to do them equally as well.
yeah.
The little bobbleheads.
All right. So we don't want to directly copy from them, but there really isn't any other way to do it.
No.
So maybe in the future. But for the time being, I believe that's about it for the stream today. So first of all, real quick, before we go, Game Blast is happening tomorrow. Do you know what time it's starting?
Starting at midday GMT.
Midday.
Yeah,
So
it'll be running for 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely packed with stuff for RS3 block and load and lots of old school stuff.
Yep.
In particular, me, Chris, and Mod West are going to be doing. Oh, it's going to be on the Special Effect Team Twitch channel, not the RuneScape Twitch channel. Just so you guys know, we'll make sure that's posted out everywhere on social. And yeah, we're going to be doing a bot busting stream, which is going to be great. And then there's going to be an absolute ton of other stuff going on throughout the entire 24 hours. Well worth tuning in and giving what you can. Well, the Well of Goodwill is going to be open up for that as well in both games. So if you want to give with in-game
if you haven't seen the Well of Goodwill, it is by Valk West Bank, just to the east a little bit. You see it from Valk West Bank.
So tune in midday GMT tomorrow for the Game Blast stream. It's going to be epic. There's a lot of stuff happening. Bot busting is just a small bit of that.
It's all for a fantastic cause as well.
Yeah.
Everything that's going to be gathered up there going into the well is going to be going to charity, and there's going to be a Just Given page as well, so you guys can give to a good cause.
Cool. Tune into that. I'm not going to spoil it, but we do have some very special stuff happening. That's really all I'm just going to say. Later that day, so definitely you're not going to want to miss it. Also, what you might not want to miss is after this stream, we're carrying on straight to Mod Ronin, doing some fun free-to-play stuff. What exactly are you doing?
We're going to be kicking off some free-to-play accounts. If you guys want to make a free-to-play account now, we're going to be doing it on World 394. We're going to be running through Tutorial Island and doing some of the basic low-level content. If you want to get that out of the way on your brand new account, get a nice start to your free-to-play and do it with a few hundred other people, hopefully. Then feel free to make a completely free account, World 394, and we'll be there in just a few minutes.
Yep. So there you go. Don't go anywhere. The stream will be continuing. And yeah, that's about it. So aside from that, well, thank you guys for watching. Give the stream a follow if you enjoyed. And stay tuned.